And we are back live. We almost weren't. We've got a lot going on. We're contenting, we're dataing, we're spreadsheeting, we're doing all the ings. And we said, you know what? We have to go live. What are we doing? The people are asking for it. So just tweeting the link out now. We'll get some people in here. Willie, not the most exciting round one. It went, all things considered, pretty chalk. By my math, there was 94 out of the top 100 seeds survived to go to round two.
Is that right?
So only 25
for the top of the top 10. So
yeah.
So like 4 top 10s went out.
So
let me think about it. Was it LJ Araju was 1?
So 33 the 10 seed, 41 the 8 seed, 65 the 6 seed, 97 the 4 and the 8, and 285 the 6. Drawing blanks on names, I just wrote down the seed numbers. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nathan Taylor.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's one of the biggest takeaways. One of the biggest takeaways around one, if you're looking down the road, is I said on a couple different shows this week leading up that I like Ben Keeter. I think he's All-American material. I like Cole Marasola. I think he's All-American material. The problem is those two hit in round 2. The loser drops down and his path becomes somewhere you have to hit Nathan Taylor, who's also an All-American, returning All-American. Nathan Taylor lost. That's great news for Keeter or Marasola, whoever loses this round, because Hunter Kaka beats Nathan Taylor, derails that path. And so the loser of that one doesn't have to go through Nathan Taylor. And no disrespect to Hunter Kaka, but I just don't think Kaka beats either one of those guys. So that's big for both, Penn State, who's chasing 10 AAs and who's chasing All-American records, and Iowa for Iowa's prospect to get on the team podium. Right now they're in second, way too early to really project, but coming into the tournament, they look like they're in a dogfight to make the podium. They look maybe 5 or 4 spot. If they can, having another path and Keeter having a much easier path to get to the podium helps them tremendously.
Yeah, so we'll go weight by weight, and we'll kind of talk what happened in round 1 and what's coming up in round 2. Instead of just recapping and then preview, we're going to do it weight by weight, do both at once. So let's start right out of the top, 125 pounds. Really an exciting weight, all things considered, even though a lot of it went chalk. I'm going to score my brackets in real time. Willie already did it while I was doing other dataing and contenting. By the way,
I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Baschamania.com/brackets if you want an updated PDF after session 1.
So I don't know historically. Historically how many. What's a good number to get right in round 1? I don't know. Is 14 of 16 good? Is 12 of 16 good? I don't know what typically is good, but I would say that I had a kind of ho-hum. I don't think I did great. I didn't think I did great in round 1.
I kind of got a bone to pick with you.
Yeah.
Because throughout picking these brackets, you want me to make some Stones picks, and I'm okay with that. But if we're scoring it, like you got 1 wrong at 125, I got 2 wrong. I picked Witt over. I picked Witt over Strickenberger, 16-17. I got that one wrong. And then I picked Rivera over McGowan, kind of a Stones pick. So, like the score has to be a little bit on a curve of some Stones picks in there, right? Because otherwise you just pick.
Well, hey, when you pick Stones pick, I didn't say pick Stones picks that are wrong. Pick Stones picks that are right.
Well, I did with 84, where you got Walsh wrong and I got right. This one's flipped with McGowan and Rivera.
That was That was sort of a Stones pick, but it's sort of an injury pick. I mean,
No, 100%. I'm just saying, picking a.
so we'll talk about what the big developments were each weight and how we did. So the big developments at 125, I really don't think much. There were no high seeds. There were no good seeds that went down. I got Tarakina Moran wrong, which is a 14-19 matchup where I took the 19. I got that wrong. I think it was pretty. I think it was pretty chalk here for everybody.
This whole weight went chalk with the exception of Jet over Wit. I think every other weight,
That's 16, 17. That don't matter.
Yeah, 15, 18 was the other one. More one, but either way, yeah. If you're within a couple in the high teens, but those are the only quote unquote upsets. Really kind of a chalk round. But now this next one gets really fun. Obviously highlighted in the mix there for round 2.
Run them down. I'm telling you, I should have said this right from the top of the show. Round 2 is going to be a movie. This whole round, not 125 through heavyweight, it's going to be freaking awesome. I don't know where the hits are going to come. I don't know where the big news is going to come, but there's going to be chaos. This round is going to be absolutely fire, and I think it's going to be my favorite round of the tournament.
Yeah, and it's funny because looking back at the content for last year, and I was trying to look at graphics and see how things went, and there was a lot more action, it seemed like, in the first round versus the second. There was definitely in the second, like, I think Dean pinned Figueroa in the second. Like, there wasn't, but, like, Teamer went down in the first round. Like, there was a lot in the first round. This year, I think it's all going into that second round because it's going to be fun, and you got an NCAA Finals rematch in the mix.
Yeah. So 125, let's run them down. Lilladal Strickenberger. Well, Max Dean's wrestling at 125. Maximo Renteria, Dean Peterson. Rematch of NCAA Finals last year did materialize. Troy Spratley versus Vince Robinson. Steve O'Pullen versus Sheldon Seymour. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AAs out of the 8 guys in the top bracket, and then Strickenberger, who was blood round. Out of control.
Yep.
Down below, Nick Bouzakis, Jacob Moran, and Bouzakis looked a little sluggish. Round 1, fresh off the scale. Will he be a little fresher tonight? He should be. Should be a little heavier. Should be a little bit more hydrated. But Jacob Moran, a salty little spark plug. It should be an interesting match. Tyler Klinsky, who looked really good. Remember, I told you, that guy's a goer. And if you paid attention, if you watched that match in the first round, now I know he wasn't wrestling. He's wrestling Davis Matika, solid guy. But he looked great, and he put up a lot of points. Klinsky versus Volk. Nico Provo versus Mark Anthony McGowan. Spencer Moore versus Eddie Van Treska. I didn't watch Eddie Van Treska's match, but I was told that he looked sluggish.
Yeah, he did. He won 8-6. For a lot of people, myself included, I had Eddie coming off a strong ACC performance, making the semis here. If I was adjusting my bracket, kind of guess you got to see how tonight goes. But, man, I'm not feeling a lot of confidence in him making the semis. I think I would probably take Provo or Volk now. Or Provo and Volk to make the semis. But, yeah, I don't know if that was just right off the scale. Bouzakis definitely, you notice the off the scale struggles. But, yeah, it's going to be awesome tonight.
133. Let's see how I did. I got 3 wrong here. Zan Fugit and Jacob Van D both losing, both AAs last year. The third one I got wrong was Ethan Burdink. Zan Fugit loses to 1-loss TK Davis. So TK Davis goes on and wrestles Forrest. Van D had a first period takedown, looked kind of fine, and then just, he blew it. He blew it. 2 Huskers went down this round. You could say that Araju blew it, but things happened really fast in that match. Van D, on the other hand, Van D, on the other hand, it was like a slow shot by Farber, and Van D tries to pass. Like everything's like super slow motion. It's like, Van D, figure this out. Figure that out. Van D's my dude. Love him.
Yeah.
That's
By
my
the way,
guy.
I had
I don't know what's happening there.
since you're doing Husker Willie, I'll do Penn State Bash because somebody in the chat asked about how Penn State's doing bonus wise. I ran the numbers comparing last year to this year because somebody else tweeted me that. Last year, Penn State had 14 bonus points in the first round. This year, 13. Lone difference really is that last year Kirk got a tech, scored 1.5 at heavyweight. This year, Marisola got a decision, got half a point.
I'm not doing. How am I doing Husker Willie?
I know, just because I was just breaking your balls because you were doing a Husker side note.
So yes, Van D goes down to Farber. Fugit goes down to Davis, and Bergink lost. I had Walker. That's a 1914. Walker beats Bergink. Those are the three I got wrong. Other than that,
yeah, I got
none of them.
This
I guess
terrible.
Van D was sort of a that was a 13. That was a 20 over a 13, but the other two were kind of academic, a 17 over a 16. And I think that people are making more of a deal over a Fugit losing because of his name and because he was an AA last year. But really, it's a 16-17 on paper.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some terrible. I had Leet lose. I had Ethan lost. Van D lost. I did
That's
terrible.
23 over a 10.
Yeah, I'm
Who
not
else did you
saying
have?
like. So I had Zan. I had Evan.
Everybody did.
Yeah. So like I didn't do great this way, but.
All right, let's run them down. Tonight. Jax Forrest against TK Davis. Dom Serrano against Markel Baker. Kyler Larkin Grice. That was 0-0 until like mid-second, late second, and then Larkin put up a bunch of points. Larkin Mugallian. Farber Seidel. Blaze against Gage Walker. Tyler Ferrara against Drake Ayala. Lucas Bird, who had to rally against Dylan Shaver, against Braxton Brown, all Big Ten matchup there. And then Tyler Knox, who gave up the first takedown to Gunnar Andrick. He will take on Ben Davino.
Hey, what did you make of that Bird Shaver match?
I don't know. You know, Bird doesn't create a whole lot of separation. So if he does give up a score, he's going to be in a dogfight. And he did, and he was. And you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, Bird lost it. He lost his mojo." And maybe he has. Maybe he's not as good as he was last year. Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think it's because of that match. I mean, to me, a senior who's been there before, done that before, if he was truly washed, he puts his head down and loses that match. He stoned up and got the takedown and got his hand raised like a winner he is.
Yeah.
Okay, 141.
Jax looked awesome, by the way. That kid just continues to impress me because Jax is like, yes, he's very good, and yes, he should dominate the 32-33 seed winner, but not having any nerves and coming out and just performing like that, the kid just continues to impress. I know some people will say he's just doing what he's supposed to do, but guess what? A true freshman coming into the big tournament, high expectations, all the rage, all the talk.
Well, you know,
and he
the thing about Jax is, and I was just on the phone with Fellers about this, and this came up. We weren't talking about Jax. We were talking about other people. You take a look at guys like Angelo Ferrari or even Christopher Minto, and some other guys. And they really scored a lot of points. They wrestled aggressively. But, you know, it's not just because they're more talented. It's because they wrestle freer. When they're wrestling a guy that they know they can beat, they bully him, and they wrestle like a bully. Jax wrestles like a bully, whether the guy next to his name has a 16 or a 2.
Yeah.
Jax wrestles like a bully regardless of the matchup. Where these other guys, if it's somebody they're supposed to beat, yeah, they go out there and work them and wrestle with abandon. But if it's somebody that they're supposed to be a tight matchup, everything's tight and everything.
Yeah.
They don't go out of the shell. Just wrestle like Jax Forrest.
Wrestle like a freshman.
140. Wrestle like a freshman. 141. No top seeds fell here either. The biggest, I don't know, this is an upset. Did I have this right? I don't think I picked this, but I mentioned it. Did I pick Ricciardi?
I thought you picked Jack.
I did pick Jack. I picked Jack. That was the only. Let's see if it's right here. I did pick Jack. So I had Ricciardi wrong. I had Olivieri wrong, and I had Luke Simcox wrong. So I had 3 wrong here, but none of them were monsters.
I had 3 different ones wrong. Well, I had Jack too. I had Julian Tag, and I had. Are those the only 2 I got wrong?
I guess Olivieri was that's a big one. The 9 losing to the 24, and
Rutgers had a terrible round. Terrible,
dude. Rutgers went 1-8.
I know they went terrible.
They went 2. They went 2-7. They won. They were 0-7 going into 197. Cotton won, and Kaka upset Nathan Taylor. They went 2-7.
Yeah, I guess those are the only 2 I had wrong. I had 3. Sorry, I had
3.
Jack, Olivieri, and Tag. Those are the 3 I had wrong.
Ricciardi beat Jack. Singleton beat Olivieri. Von Bauer over Crook. Stanich over Manville. Wells beat Simcox. Henson over Julian Tag. Braden Davis won 2-0. Escape and riding time point over Hayden Drury. I mentioned in the show that this morning's show that could be a scrappy one. Nasir Bailey looked okay.
I'll tell you what. Do you have
Vega? Hey, Tyler Billy DeCraker had a couple moments. He had a shot at Vega, but that's the thing with Vega. Oftentimes you have a shot, and Vega Houdini's the best.
Did you have Stanich make it into the semis? Because I feel very good about that right now. He looked awesome. He looked awesome in that opening match, teching Manville. I think it was 21-6. Like, Stanich is a dog.
I have Stanich over Echemendia in the quarters.
Yeah. I'm feeling confident about that. That was kind of a little Stones pick, only because we haven't seen too much of Stanich this year against top opponents. But, man, he looked awesome against Manville.
Okay, 149.
Well, hold on. Did we say what matches are coming up for tonight for 141?
Oh, yeah. Matches coming up. Jesse Mendez against Caden Ricciardi. Nash Singleton against Vance Von Bauer. Luke Stanich versus Tyler Wells. Wyatt Henson versus Echemendia. Big one here, Hardy Davis. Composto Cornella, a rematch of the EIWA finals. Nasir Bailey versus Jack Consiglio, who's wrestling really good. And Eli Griffin against Sergio Vega. Good matchup at 41.
Some fun ones on deck.
49. Everything went to chalk here. Everything went to chalk. I had one wrong. I took Zargo over Lamer, and Lamer got a late third period takedown that was challenged and then upheld. So really, and what was that? That was a 13. That was a 20 over 13. So nothing real big. Nothing real big. What'd you miss at 49?
I'm looking right now. I had Zargo over Lamer. Lost that one, but then I had Colin. I had Cross. I think I have the rest of the bottom went chalk. I don't think I had any. Yeah.
Yeah, this was kind of the ho-hum.
Just that one.
Went great. Yeah. So both of us had one, and it was a Zargo one. 149 matchups tonight. Van Ness against Jacob Frost. David Evans against Swiderski. Biskins against Carter Young. Lamer against Colin Guy. Wazlewski Rachi. Lachlan McNeil against Caleb Tyus. Ethan Styles, Aid Valencia. That's a great one.
Who'd you pick for that one?
I picked Styles.
I picked Aiden.
And then Block Joy, my upset special. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Block might weigh 165 pounds right now.
He can't get
Let's check
too
the chat.
heavy, though, but he can't get too heavy. I mean,
I'm being hyperbole
facetious
here, but oh yeah, somebody in the chat. Badgers went 1-7, dude. I felt bad how it was like Rutgers. We were talking about Rutgers having a bad round. Wisconsin had a real bad round, man. And off air, probably like I don't know, around 149, 157. Me and Basch were FaceTiming, and I said, Basch, you know what? We've sang the praises of Wisconsin a couple times on the show this season, and they deserved it, and they had a decent Big Tens, but their matchups were nobody has really talked about this because they're not a podium team contender, but their matchups are really, really tough. I mean, Zan's a 16 seed, and sure enough, they had a brutal round one. Nicola Rivera, like. In a perfect, there is a universe where Nicola Rivera can really go with Mark Anthony McGowan, but not today. Zan Fugit loses. Zargo loses a one takedown match. Amos loses to Juan Mora. I mean, it was brutal. The only guy that won was not Gable, Meckler. Meckler won.
I'll tell you what, they're going to have some tough, even like Nicola Rivera now has Cooper Flynn. First round of the consies, either Cooper Flynn or Nicola Rivera going 0-2.
Yeah.
0-2.
All right, let's hit 57 before we get back to some chat questions. First, let's see what I got wrong. I got 3 wrong here. Cale Swenson in a 16-17 match, he got beat by Luke Meckler. Derek Rake. Who did Derek Rake lose to? Oh, Jimmy Harrington in a 13-20. And Vinny Zerban. The big one here for as far as the highest seed, as far as the team race stuff, Vinny Zerban goes down to who did he go down to?
Charlie Millard. I had Zerban too.
Charlie Millard. And I had Millard. Did you have Zerban?
I had Zerban. Yeah, I don't know why, because I've been so high on Charlie Millard, and I didn't think Zerban.
Well, I get it. It actually in my brackets,
I don't think Zerban's a bad pick. I've been mentioning Charlie Millard and like giving him praise throughout the year because I keep thinking he has these good matches. I'm stunned they didn't take it, and then I thought for sure that I did.
Well,
I looked back and like, no.
It was a difficult one because to me they're pretty even, but they both looked rough at conferences. You didn't really know coming in how healthy each guy was. So I don't think it's there's no shame in getting that wrong. So yeah, I got 3: Zerban, Swenson, Rake. That's about it. Let's go over the matchups. Duke versus Meckler, one of the best of the round. Cardenas, Cannon. Oh, all these are pure fire.
Yeah,
Robidon, Millard. Harrington, Larkin.
Robidon Millard is going to be a match.
Okay, here's another thing about Zerban. Waters, Schwisher, Webster, Rosinski, Catrabone, Taylor. These matchups are crazy, but Iowa State, who's a podium team contender, takes a big hit here. And because he drops down, Zerban drops down.
About
and you know
415. About 415. Circle it on your brackets.
He's going to get the loser of Waters and Swisher. That's a tough one. Now, the sort of silver lining for them is, Iowa State is projected to be in a team race with maybe Oklahoma State, maybe Nebraska, maybe Iowa. So one of those teams, Nebraska, also had a guy lose prematurely in LJ Araju, and he drops down, and that's no easy path. If he would have won that one and then lost, it would have been a little bit easier. But Vinny Zerb and LJ Araju both have a tough path. Zerb,
by the way,
much more.
Speaking of paths, I got to give a shout out. Matt Savant. I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. MatSavant.com. He built a live prediction leaderboard that is awesome. It's projecting team scores and what their scores look like, what the team race looks like, what the projected scores look like, what the projected team score like on a graph and who's in what, the biggest moments and how it impacted. So, for example, Hunter Katka beating Taylor, minus 4.1 points for Lehigh, plus 2.4. I don't know why it says Northern Illinois. I don't know what's going on there, but it's got all the big moments and the upsets and the standings and the movements. Very cool. Go check that out. I think that's awesome when you have leaderboards like that.
It is cool. 165. I only got one wrong here. Araju was the only one I got wrong. The 6th seed, the highest seed of the whole first session to go down. What a wild match, right? LJ gets a takedown to go up. It's 3-3 in the third. LJ gets a takedown to go up 6-3. And it ticks a little bit over riding time. They reset. They go out of bounds. They reset with 15 seconds. LJ is winning 6-3 and has riding time. With 15 seconds, Parco gets to his feet. Granby's. Araju follows. They call locked hands. Parco gets to his feet. Escapes. Immediate shot. One of those shots that are so quick that you're like, I wonder if they're going to call this separation and a 1 and 3 or just a reversal.
Yeah.
It was that quick. But I can't argue with the call. I think it was probably right. But just and Parco wins. And I've been singing Parco's praises.
Yeah.
Before conference tournament, I said, hey, watch for this EJ Parco. But tremendous performance from him. And for LJ, I feel bad for him. But I mean, EJ just went and got it. I mean, LJ probably should have moved his feet more. He's probably, I don't know. You always tell these kids to don't disengage and wrestle like you normally do. And LJ did that and got burnt by it. I mean, in an alternate universe, you might say, hey, LJ, you're up 6-3 with 15 seconds. Optional start and play defense. Run, you know? Yeah. And he didn't. So, but that was the only one. Did you get any wrong?
I had LJ over EJ. I also name pick. I went with Gunnar over Connor, and Connor just absolutely stuck it to me and teched him 17-2.
Did you have Mulvaney or Barbosa?
Oh, that one too. I missed. I had Andrew. I didn't even see that.
Because I feel like a lot of the only reason I ask is because I feel like a lot of people picked Barbosa. I had Mulvaney. On that one. Because I felt like it was interesting because before the Big 12 in the Big 10 preview show, I said watch out for Barbosa, and then he went out and he beat Blaze. But I'm like, listen, he's good, but to me that win was a little fluky. Yeah. I think Blaze fell asleep more than anyway. So I had Mulvaney. So here are the matchups tonight. Well, there's a couple other things to talk about here. Brignola looked kind of not good. He beat Tyler Lillard at OT in riding time, and Lillard was like damn near had a takedown like 10 times.
Dude, I felt so bad. He celebrated. He did the like pump your chest, beat your chest, like, you know. This whole round, there was a moment of chaos in this round where Downey Olguin was tied, Parco LJ was tied, Brignola Lilliard was tied. Like, there was a moment of just chaos when all these matches were tied, like late in the third.
Yeah, Downey trailed Olguin for a second. There was chaos in Parker Araju. Brignola Lillard was bonkers, all in a row. Tonight's matchups. Mitch Mesenbrink, Patty Gallagher, Hepner versus Bianchi, D versus Cesar Alvin, Andrew Sparks versus Nico Ruiz, 2 Cali boys, Caliendo versus Mulvaney, Downey Parco, Brignola Denny, Uten Blaze.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one tonight. Really fun tonight.
174, I got a lot wrong here. I got 4 wrong. How many did you get wrong? I got a lot wrong.
Let me check them. Let me do a rundown real time. I got Sima. That's wrong. I had Bo. I had Facundo. I had PK. I had Schubert. I had Lamer. I had Carson. I had Minto. I had Moses. Got that one wrong. I had MJ. I had Maddie. I had Steed. Correct. So just those two. I had Moses winning 116, and I had Sima over Fine.
I had Sima over Fine. I had Pinto over Schubert. You took. Hold on. You took Lamer?
Yeah. Look at
that's bonkers to me. Actually, now that I remember you taking them, that's bonkers to me. I thought that was a bad pick. I remember during the show, I was like, I don't agree with that. And then who else? Oh, I lost Moses Espinosa Owens to Logan Messer. So I had 4 wrong. You only had 2 wrong, but the ones that were wrong were not major seeds. They were.
No, it's that like 14 to 19. Like those matches where you have those mid-teens to high teens.
16, 17.
16, 17.
Tonight's matchups, Levi Haynes, Nick Fine, Mantanona Facundo. Ooh, that's a good one. Kennedy Schubert, Lamer Karchla, Minto Messer. Gatan Singleton, that's a good one. Did you see MJ Gatan get in this crazy scramble and reverse bear hug?
No,
the guy was upside. The guy was upside down. Brody Ballman.
How does it feel? This is probably the first time you've been home for NCAA since 2008. How did it feel watching the action? It's crazy, right? Because you have it all in front of you, which when you're there, your head's on a swivel because your window is so much bigger. Here, it's so much smaller because it's on a screen, but it's so hard to watch everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when I'm there in person, I feel like it's almost harder.
Oh, it's definitely harder in person.
Steed Tackett's Wask Ruiz. I have Wask Ruiz. I have Wask over Ruiz, so we'll see. 184. I also did really crappy here. 184. I had 4.
Let's see what I had.
I had 4 losses. You did better here than me because you definitely had Ryder.
So I had Rocco. I had correct.
I
get
a lot of 16, 17 wrong.
I was perfect. Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone.
So let me tell you who I had Ian Bush over Rogers, and he did have a nice lead, but Rogers came back and won that. I had Joe Curtis of Columbia over Chris Moore. I got that one wrong. I had Isaac Dean over Soldano. Soldano wins. And so that's among the podium contenders again. Iowa State loses.
Wait. I stand corrected. I had Dean. I had Dean over Soldano. I stand corrected.
And I had Walsh over Ryder.
I thought I had a perfect one here.
I had Walsh over Ryder, merely, that injury stuff.
Ryder had the full, who was it? Kemmerer, who used to have that big, thick shoulder brace on. Gutted out the win. It was 1-1 heading into overtime. Ryder got it. And again, on my bracket, I have Ryder losing to Nietenbach tonight. That shoulder worries me. I think he's going to lose tonight and then win a couple on the backside. But you could definitely tell that shoulder brace that he's feeling it.
Tonight's matchups: Welsh against Ryland Rogers, Chris Moore, Silas Allred, all Big Ten match. Another all Big Ten match: Mantanona, Fishback. We got to talk about that Fishback match. Thomas Broker almost had him beat.
That was crazy. Yeah.
A sort of a late takedown, looks for a turn. It wasn't quite a turn. I think I agree with the call, but frankly, I didn't get a good angle of it. But it was close. They challenge it. It's not awarded.
The captain chimed in from Wyoming saying, terrible call, don't throw the brick. You could tell Fishback was definitely feeling it, a bit tired. And then that brick...
Give him my lunger.
Yeah.
Yeah. 184. Mantonona Fishback, Soldano, Conway. Conway won late over Nick Fox. Mickinelli, Bullock. Bullock was down to Jared McGill for a while. Ryder versus Nietenbach. Ferrari, who had more tape on him than I don't even know.
On his shoulder, by the way. Not the ankle that was messed up. On his shoulder.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got some two under the socks, though. You never know.
Ferrari has Campos, Pirine versus Sinclair. You had Pirine over Daly?
What bout number?
137.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I went Pirine specifically to switch it up.
All right, let's check the chat before we do our final two. Oh, man, there's so many. Nebraska Willie, do you give Cornella any chance of beating Hardy? Of course. Cornella has a good chance of beating Hardy. I mean, hell, Hardy has to get through Davis first. Davis wrestled him really good. I mean, it's a thing. Gay Arnold, low key, could AA. We didn't get to that one yet. Listen, I don't want, like, Gabe deserves praise because he's wrestling 2 weight classes out, but he don't score against anybody. And don't tell me it's the weight thing because he doesn't score at 74 either.
Yeah, we'll get to that match when we get to 97. I got a few thoughts on that match.
Damage is a 4 seed, and picking him to make the semis is a Stones pick. I didn't say that. Cornella 3-0 versus Composto this year. Consiglio had a close one round 1. He did, but I mean, listen, he's a talented freshman. Van D and LJ have good draws now. I don't know about LJ. I feel like LJ could win or lose up to about anybody. Van D 100% has a better draw. If Van D lost this round and he drops down into a much better situation than if he would have won. If he would have won, his draw on the backside was bad. So I'm not saying it's a good thing for Nebraska. Losing is never a good thing. Losing early is never a good thing. But the silver lining is there's a path. So good point there. I will look injured at every weight. Was going to ask Ferrari if I could borrow some tape.
We covered that.
Young, Rachi, McNeil all win. Didn't Nebraska have 2 of the biggest upset losses? Oh, they had 2 big ones. Araju for sure and Van D. Nikki Pipes picked 141 perfect. I think, yeah, that was sort of an easy one, though. That weight was sort of easy. I only had one wrong there. Thoughts on officiating? Feels like reaction time is not be considered as much. You know, here's an interesting. I had a referee that's not working the tournament DM me and tell me this, and it's news to me because I don't know how long some of you guys don't even have Twitter, but if you follow me on Twitter, last year or 2 years, I think it was 2 years ago, I had a video. I had my phone. I go back in the bowels of the arena, and I find the review room, and it's a big room with a gazillion TVs. And so I thought that was really neat. You got an inside look of what the review thing looks like. And they had a whole crew there and multiple refs. Well, an official told me that this year they don't have a dedicated crew doing the reviews. They're having the referees rotate mats, and one of them that's off is doing the reviews, which I find weird. Like, why there's one guy doing them? Why isn't there like 4? I thought they used to use like a group of 4. Anyway, I found it interesting and maybe concerning. Good to see Millard get over the hump. Millard. A lot of Millard talking here. Braden Davis over Hardy round 2. Yeah, could happen. Could not. Who knows? We'll see. It was a thing in the duel. Gabe Arnold was like watching paint dry. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
We'll get
good
to
fight.
197. All right, let's get to 197. There's a lot of Arnold talk. Let's just
A lot
get to
of Arnold
197.
talk. Lillard hosed. Yeah. Okay. Willie, what's for dinner? Beer and Skull? Yeah, you know what? I have actually. I got to throw a pork butt in the smoker tomorrow morning. All right, 197. I think I did crappy here too. I did. This was my worst weight. I had 5 losses here.
Wow.
I had 5 losses
mine.
here. I lost. I had Branson John, the 16. He got beat by the 17. Dylan Bechtold. Listen, I can't even I don't even feel bad about losing some of these 5. One was a 16-17. The next one was a 25/8. Yeah, Evan Bates, who went 0-2 last week.
Wow, I got destroyed.
Right? 97 was stupid. Evan
I got
Bates
1,
over
2,
DJ
3,
Parker.
4. I got 5 wrong here.
I had 5 wrong too. So 16-17, 25/8, that's Bates over Parker. 21/12, Luke Geog, which
Yep.
and I think Luke Geog was Ohio State's only blemish, wasn't it? Did Ohio State get 9 through?
No, maybe at Penn State and Oklahoma State. Let me check. Penn State and Oklahoma State got all 10 through.
Ohio State got 9.
Let me check. Where are the team?
Ohio State got 9. Iowa State and Nebraska got 8. And I think that's the most.
Let's see. Team scores. All right. In the championship round, Iowa has 8. Ohio State has 9. Iowa State and Nebraska have 7 each. Can you hear me? Okay. So Penn State and Oklahoma State have 10 in the championship rounds. Ohio State has 9. Iowa has 8. And then Iowa State, Nebraska, Stanford, all with 7. Virginia Tech, not the best round.
Wait. Who has 8? Iowa State, Nebraska, and who?
So Penn State, Oklahoma State with 10. Ohio State with 9. Iowa with 8. Iowa State, Nebraska, Stanford with 7.
Iowa State only got 7. They lost Zerbin, Dean, and who?
I don't know. I'll have to look.
Oh, Grice.
Yeah. Garrett Grice.
So again, let's continue. 197 was a disaster. Bechtold over Branson John, Bates over Parker, Rune Lawrence over Geog. I had Solers over Lehman in the 1914, but Lehman won that for Ohio. That's my 4th one wrong. Who was my 5th one wrong?
I had Branson, got that one wrong. I had Parker wrong, Geog wrong, Sasso wrong, and Gabe Solers wrong.
Sasso, that's a huge hit. Actually, I misspoke earlier. I said Arujo was the highest seed to go down. That's wrong. He was the 6th. Sonny Sasso was the highest guy to go down. The 4 seed, taken out by number 29, Colton Hawks, who comes into the national tournament with a 7-9 record. Colton Hawks.
We've talked about him if you've listened to this show.
Colton Hawks is now 8-9 on the year. 2 of those win, and by the way, it wasn't like a Drake Ayala situation where Drake's 5-5, but his 5 losses were the top 10 guys. Colton Hawks, he was at 1.4-5 with abominable losses. Abominable. And in the last 3 weeks, he's beaten Rademacher and now Sonny Sasso. Unbelievable.
He didn't beat Rademacher, did he? Oh, that's right. He did back in the duel. That's right.
In the duel.
And we were saying about Rademacher, like he just lost to Colton Hawks, who at the time was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 and 6 at the time they wrestled, I believe. 2 and 6.
Right? So Hawks, you can't figure that guy out. You can't figure him out.
I had to do I did a graphic because it was the biggest upset. And Tony Rotundo, who I use for photos, I pay him to use his photos in all my graphics. He has no photos of him. So I went to Colton Hawk's Instagram, and one of like the cleanest shots to use was him flexing in the Missouri singlet. So I had to use that and kind of black out the Missouri logo. We need Rotundo to get some good photos. Good photos this weekend, but
so yeah, a lot of chaos at 197.
So Gabe Arnold Rademacher, let's talk about that match real quick because, again, it's such a common theme of what we've seen all year. Gabe does awesome in the defense. For Gabe, a 74-pounder, to come up and shut down Rademacher, who we're both very bullish on. I've got Rademacher making it to the semis and losing only to Elam, and yet he cannot take down Arnold. Like that, there is a lot of praise to be said there for Arnold. At the same time, when Arnold's wrestling, watching him is like, it's almost like they're drilling and they're just drilling defense and he just doesn't go to score anything. And then I felt bad. I mean, the end of that. So here, again, it's like, it's hard not to root for Arnold with the year he's had. You listen to the All Feel Good team, where you're kind of rooting for that story of the year he's had. And here he gets to double tiebreakers. He gets out in 4 seconds. And he chooses down to start the tiebreakers. He gets out in 4 seconds. All you have to do in the second tiebreaker is hold Rademacher down for 5 seconds, and then you win, and Rademacher got out in 3. Now,
dude, there's so much going on there, okay? So number one, first things first, Rademacher's my dude. Rademacher is my guy. I love that kid. I spent a lot of time with him. He's one of the best kids in freaking college. Gabe, I say how much I love Gabe so much, you're probably sick of me saying it. That being said, I was disappointed by both guys.
That'll preach.
Rademacher, Rademacher you got to go get a takedown. Go get a takedown. You can't wrestle 9 minutes with no takedown. And then, by the last weekend of the season, you need to be prepared and mentally prepared and totally understand the game that is rideouts. And Justin, how do you not stop Gabe's first move? He weighs 100. I mean, he's a 174-pounder. You dwarf him. Rademacher is a monster 197. Mm-hmm. How do you not stop his first move, smother him, and ride him longer than 4 seconds? Okay, so he should have been prepared to ride him, number one. Number two, great job by Gabe getting out so fast. And then you have to think he got out so fast. Justin, you might want to take neutral. You're not gonna get out in 3 seconds, but he gets out in 3 seconds. Gabe, what are you doing? Drop down to an ankle. Hang on for 5 seconds. I mean, don't drop down to an ankle. That's stupid. But if you start losing it, stop Rademacher's first move. I mean, I don't think when you get to overtime rideouts, I see way too many kids not take a step back, take a deep breath, and then reset. Think about this task at hand. The task at hand, Gabe Arnold, is to ride for 5 seconds. Take a step back. Think about what you're going to do. You're going to stop his first move in some way, whether you grab an ankle, whether you chop, whether you spiral ride, whatever you're going to do. And if your opponent happens to get to a foot, starts building up, drop down to an ankle. Hold on for dear life. Take that stall call, and you have riding time advantage. I just thought it was mismanaged by basically both guys.
Yeah. You're not wrong. Magnum Wrestling in the chat is in nonstop, unrelenting that Rademacher had a takedown.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. Somebody told me that. I missed it. But multiple people told me Rademacher had a takedown. I didn't see it. Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I missed it. So much going on, so I don't really want to say it was or wasn't.
Several people told me that Rademacher did too. What does the chat say? Chat, you think he had to?
Well, Magnum Wrestling definitely thinks he does.
Well, Mangum Wrestling would make me think it's Cody Mangum, who is an Oregon State alum. So it might be a little biased. All right, here's the matchups at 97. Josh Barr, Dylan Bechtold, Angelo Posada, Evan Bates, Novak against Rune Lawrence, Bennett Berge versus Colton Hawks. One of those guys is going to quarterfinals. Stephen Little versus Zane Lehman. Cam McDaniel, Rademacher. Fascinating matchup. Rademacher coming off not an impressive performance, but he's, I think, 6-1 lifetime against, or 5-1 lifetime, something like that against Cam McDaniel. All of them have been in freestyle. We'll see. Maybe there's a difference in folk style. Maybe riding comes into play. Maybe scrambling comes into play. Can't scramble too much in freestyle. So we'll see. McDaniel, Rademacher rivalry continued here. Merrill versus Max Stout. Ooh, that's a juicy one.
Yeah.
And then Cotton Elam. 285. To me, the story of this one, you had some nominal upsets like Juan Mora over Braxton Amos. I really didn't see that coming. But not a whole lot. You also had, here's a big one. Kaka over Taylor is big. Is big on the front side. Kaka the 20 freaking something. 27 over 6. I mean, that's just an awful result for Lehigh. Dude, Jarrett Stoner, what are you doing? What are you doing, pal? You have Nick Feldman done. It's done. The match is over. And Feldman gets it on a shot, and then your ankle's there, and Feldman goes like this. Grab the ankle, finish the takedown. Stoner, move your fucking foot. Move your foot. Move your foot. Move your foot. You beat Nick Feldman. Move your foot. He gets taken down. He's on a hip. He's on his butt. Just split. Do a split. Just move your foot. Oh, my God. That was so good by Stoner and then so bad. Yeah, that's about it.
So I had
how many did you get wrong here, Bob?
4. I had Amos, I had Lasagna, I had Nathan Taylor, obviously, and I had Christian Carroll, who you called that one. You called that one. I had Carroll. I thought he was going to bounce back. It sounded like he was sick at Big 12s, and now it's like.
Let me clarify though. I kind of had it right, but I kind of had it wrong because I had 3 wrong. I had Mora. I had Amos, but it was Mora. I had Nathan Taylor, but it was Kaka. And I actually picked Christian Carroll. Well, where I had it right was me and Bash were talking on the phone, and I said, you know what, Bash? I'm not going to bet anything. I'm not, because I don't even have an account, and I don't care enough.
I went 2-0 my bets, by the way.
I don't care enough to start an account, but if I had it, one I would really consider is Brady Colbert, because when Carroll gets into a slump and when Carroll gets into a funk, he gets into a funk. When Carroll's really good, he's really good. When Carroll's down in the dumps, he's down in the dumps, and it's a little bit between the ears. And so he obviously had a bad Big 12s, and I'm like, I got a hunch this might continue in the NCAAs. And sure enough, Colbert beats him. So our 285 second round matchups here in an hour and a half. Is it an hour and a half or 2 hours?
Yeah,
is it 7 or 7:30?
7.
Okay, hour and a half. Younger Bastida, Jimmy Mullen, Connor Marisola, Ben Keeter. Great one there. Nick Feldman, Juan Mora, Dayton Pitzer, AJ Ferrari, Tay against Hopkey, Devin Dawson against Kaka, Connor Doucette against Zuba. I like that one. That's fun. Brady Colbert, Trumbull.
Yeah, so it's gonna be fun. That's 285. Willie, we'll do like 5 more minutes and then we'll go here. BetOnline has second round odds. Would you like to scroll through them?
Oh, I want to go through them so bad. But first, can I do something real quick? I want to go over team scores and situation. Way too early. Way too early. But
All right, let's do it.
Penn State way out in front, 22.5. Iowa in second. Now, here's the dogfight. Here's a dogfight that we all talked about coming in. It's going to be Penn State and a group of about 7 teams for the final 3 spots. Iowa, who I had finished in 5th, is currently in second. But second through 8th is only separated by 5. Second through 6 is only separated by 2 points. Iowa with 15 at the high end. Nebraska, who's in 6th, with 13. Iowa State with 14. Oklahoma State with 14.5. Ohio State with 14.5. Way too early. Very little separation. And as we said earlier, Penn State has all 10 through. Oklahoma State, all 10 through. Iowa with 8. Iowa 7 or 8.
Let me try to pull it back up.
Ohio State with 9.
Iowa with 8.
Iowa with 8.
Iowa with 8. Iowa State, Nebraska, and Stanford with 7. And then Minnesota and Virginia.
Stanford with 7. Wow.
Yeah. And then
how did Stanford get 7 through? Stanford got 7 through and only has 10 points. Well, they would 0 bonus. I mean, minimum.
Yeah,
minimum
they
bonus.
did it. I mean, they had
Right.
they had big upsets like Parco. That those weren't really bonuses, you know, but they had a good round. Yeah.
Our final segment before we bid you adieu. You guys can have a beer, go get a bratwurst,
By the way,
and then wrap back in.
And programming schedule, we are not going live tonight after the round. We'll be live probably at 9 a.m. tomorrow to preview the quarterfinals, and then we'll probably be live between the quarters and semis. Not live after semis, live Saturday morning to preview the medal round.
Okay.
All right, so let me try to see if I can. Odds. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I can pull this up. Oh yeah.
Put it on the screen.
Yep. So I just pulled them up. Here you go. Do you want to read and I'll scroll?
Yeah, second round odds. Luke Lillidahl is a minus 2,000 favorite. Renteria. Dean Peterson's minus 500. Maximo plus 375.
By the way, these lines, I'm literally watching them move in real time. These lines are money coming in. These lines are people just throwing money on one side, and so it moves. So this isn't just like an opening line of what it likely is. This is money coming in and moving based on that.
Listen, if Renteria is that high, plus 375, I wouldn't. I'd put $10 on it. I don't think he's that much. I just don't think that he's that much of an underdog. I think he's an underdog. My pick's Dean, but that's a lot. Yeah. Spratley and V-Rob pretty much neck and neck. Almost a pick 'em there.
And V-Rob is 3-0 over him, so it is, you know.
Poulin, Seymour, a monster favorite over Poulin. I thought Seymour looked really good round 1.
He did. But, he looked awesome. He was up early and got the pin? Up 4-1, I think?
Yeah, I mean, not because of the opponent, but just in his body language, like what we talked about early in the show, just going and getting it. And he went and did it. Buzakis minus 700. Jacob Moran plus 500. I'd stay away from that. Tyler Klinsky plus 270. Tyler Klinsky plus 270. You know who I like there. I've been talking about it all week. Now, don't say, hey, I bet on Klinsky. I ain't saying he's going to win. I'm saying it's a nice upset pick.
Correct.
And plus 270.
These are just fun these are fun to root for lines. I had Bird and Cody Merrill in the first round because I just didn't think they were heavy enough betting favorites for what they were supposed to be. So, and I'll tell you the one I have in a few minutes that I also think.
Okay, I'm looking at them for the first time as you guys are looking at them. So I like Klinsky, Provo, McGowan. Basically, I mean they're close. I don't particularly like either one of those. Jackson Forrest, TK Davis, Get Real. Dom Serrano, Markel Baker.
Yeah, guys, if you see a line minus 4,000, just stay away. because anything can happen. Minus 4,000 is just stupid. There's just no value there.
Bash, why don't you put $400 on it? You could win $10.
It's so stupid.
Kyler Larkin, a huge favorite over Magoulian. Aaron Seidel, monster favorite. Marcus Blaze, monster favorite. Just keep scrolling and hold on. Lucas Bird, minus 500. Okay. Davino is plus 800.
No, Knox is plus 800.
Knox is plus 800.
Mendez minus 4,000. Von Bauer minus 600 over Nash Singleton. Luke Stanich.
Braden Davis.
Yeah,
Davis.
Braden Davis plus 375. Brock Hardy minus 500. Brock Hardy a 5-1 betting favorite.
Is that a value play? I think it's a value play. I don't think Davis is going to win, but
Composto plus 235 over Cornella. Bailey minus 275. Willie, minus 275 for Bailey. If you're as high as you are as you went into the tournament, that's not bad.
Yeah, I guess it's not bad. You can win. You can lay $275 to win 100.
Yeah, or you can bet 135 and win like 50. So, Vega monster favorite, Van Ness monster favorite, David Evans plus 300, Casey Swiderski minus 400.
Don't hate it. I don't hate that.
Which side? Evans?
I don't hate David Evans as a value.
You love the plus side.
I love the plus side.
Yeah. Coy Biskins minus 120, Carter Young plus 100. What do you think of that one?
I ain't messing with it.
I like Biskins there. Chance Lamer plus 425, Colin Guy minus 600. Let's see here. Lachlan McNeil minus 275 against Caleb Tyus. Tyus with one loss on the year. McNeil looking good.
Styles Valencia. Styles is plus 110. Valencia the favorite despite being the lower seed.
That might be betting money coming in.
Jackson Block plus 500. Let me put $50 on that. 50 to win 250.
That's not bad, right? That's good value. Duke monster favorite. Daniel Cardenas minus 126. Brandon Cannon plus money. Cannon plus 106. You're looking for a value play, Willie? Brandon Cannon at plus money? It's not bad. Again, this if you look at the Aiden Valencia being minus money and now Cardenas minus money, this to me screams Stanford fans betting. Right? Because both Cardenas and Valencia being minus money, like, they're both could easily win. Like, I picked both of those guys, but to get Styles and Cannon at plus money, Robidoux minus 400, Millard plus 300, Caleb Larkin minus 1,800, Meyer Shapiro minus 700. I really like that. Ty Waters minus 200, Jude Swisher plus 170.
That's a fun one.
Yep. Cannon Webster minus 335 over Rosinski. Catrabone plus 750. Antrell Taylor minus 1,200. Some Husker gamblers got to be putting money in Antrell there. Mitchell Mesenbrink is minus 5,000.
Yeah, bet $5,000 to win $100.
Insane. Hepner plus 170, Matty Bianchi minus 200, D Lockett minus 800. That was minus 600 when I first saw that.
Hey, I don't hate this one. Sparks plus 250.
Sparks plus money, yep. Caliendo minus 1,400. Ryder Downey minus 220. EJ Parco plus 125. I'll just zoom in here. Okay. Will Denny plus 120 or Max Brignola. Joey Blaze minus 1,400. Levi Haynes only minus 2,500. I use only minus 2,500 with the context of seeing Messenberg minus 5,000. Bo Mantanona minus 105 and Facundo minus 115. Not a lot of value there on either side. It's kind of who do you think's going to win? Kennedy, Patrick Diesel, as Shane Sparks is now calling him, minus 350. Carter Schubert plus 285. Carchel minus 650 over Dasha Lamer. Chris Minto minus 600. MJ Gatam.
I'm gonna. That's a rare one where I like it.
Which one?
Minto is 100% winning that match.
You like the minus 600 for Minto?
It's like free money.
Yeah. All right, I might have to deposit more and put in. MJ Gatam plus 165, Cam Seed minus 310, Danny Wask plus 750 against Simon Ruiz minus 1200, Rocco Welch minus 1500. Oof. Silas Allred minus 200, minus 220 over Chris Moore. Brock Mantinona minus 180. Brock Mantinona almost a 2-1 favorite over Dylan Fishback in the betting odds.
What? Brian Soldano plus 425? All day. All day.
Where do you
all
see that?
day.
Did I
I'm
pass
all
that?
over that.
Oh, right
I'm
here. Yeah.
all over Brian Soldano plus 425. James Conway just lost to Caleb Campos and then had to have a third period takedown to beat Nick Fox.
Micanelli minus 700 over Jaden Bullock. Minus 700 is a lot, but I like that. I feel like Max should be a little bit higher than that. Zach Ryder. We just saw the line change in real time there. Money just came in on Nietenbach. Nietenbach minus 260. Zach Ryder plus 220. Our fans must be betting. Angelo Ferrari almost a 10-1 favorite over Caleb Campos. Aiden Sinclair minus 1200. Josh Barr minus 1500. Posada minus 250. Novak minus 400. Berge and Colton Hawks both minus 110.
I actually like Angelo Posada. I would put a couple units on Posada. There it goes. As we speak, somebody put it a little on it.
Put a little on it. Bennett
It went
Berge.
from minus 250 to minus 300.
Bennett Berge minus 110. And Colton Hawks minus 110. Stephen Little minus 600. Camden McDaniel plus 165. Rademacher minus 190. Stout minus 200. Remy Cotton plus 800 against Rocky Elam, who's minus 1,400. And there you have it, my friends. Second round betting odds. That's it. No, they might still be adding them, but that is it. That's betonline.ag. Somebody was asking me if we had a promo code Basch The Brain. I wish. We're gonna have to talk to those guys because moving forward we need. How about a little cutback? How about a little cutback? A little bottle of wine, some steaks. All right, that is session 1 in the books. We are an hour 20, hour 15 away from round 2, and then we will be back first thing tomorrow, probably about 9 a.m. to recap tonight's session and preview.
I cannot wait.
The quarterfinals. Tomorrow's 2 shows are going to be electric. Previewing and recapping the quarters is electric. And then Saturday morning, recapping the blood round and previewing the medal round is going to be fun. So, fun couple of shows. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Smash the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Willie's cranking out content at rockfin.com/MattScouts. That is in the that's in the chat. So go do that. Subscribe. All right, that's the show. We'll be back in the morning. Let's go have some fun. Let's watch wrestling in an hour. Tweet us your thoughts if we missed anything.
Go Bills.
Go Bills.